Hello, hello. It's Tuesday. It's noon. We're doing another IG Live. I'm really excited to talk to Therese, the founder of Lady Sweet Beauty today. She and I have a lot of things, to share with you, how we met, why we know each other, what we're working on, and I'm also really excited to introduce you to her products. She's totally amazing. She's also, hi Liz, hi everybody who's joining. Thanks for coming on. Just any minute, Therese Clark, the founder of Lady Sweet Beauty, will be hopping on. We are going to introduce you to her products, talk a little bit about what we're doing together. Hi, Olivia. If you guys have any questions, always feel free to dump them in the chat. And she should be here any minute. And if you guys have heard of Lady Sweet, please let me know. Their products are so good. I'm just freshly showered, which I always make sure to do on Tuesdays. It's like my happiest COVID ritual. Yes, me too. Really excited to introduce you guys to Therese. Also really happy it's Tuesday. It's the only day where I actually get myself up and dressed. Okay, here we go. I see that you're here, and I'm going to go live. Here we go. I think it's gonna work. It always does, thankfully. Hi.
By the way, I'm not fully dressed. I still have my Christmas pajamas on.
Awesome. I barely made it. I was actually prepping dinner in my bathrobe, and my son was like, "Isn't it noon?" I was like, "Yep."
Oops.
Thank you.
Thank God for children.
Yeah, no kidding.
You look beautiful.
Thanks. I was just saying that I'm so happy it's Tuesday. It's like the only day where I get up and get dressed, which you can probably attest to since we have weekly Monday calls.
Yeah, no, but you always look so comfortable, and I don't know, you have good hair. It really does help.
Yeah, I'm sure I look comfortable. I'm usually like in a sweatshirt. So let's, I would love for you to just do a quick little intro about Lady Sweet, what you guys are doing, the products that that you make, and what you're working on.
Yeah, so thanks for having us, or me, but I say us because there's other people tuning in. So Lady Sweet is a feminine wellness company, and we're really focused on vulva skin health. We are one of the first companies to provide clean, non-toxic solutions for intimate skin, and this is that skin surrounding the vagina whose job it is to really protect the vagina. But for any woman who grooms, which I'm one of them, I struggle from a lot of grooming issues coupled with a thyroid issue that just makes my skin super dry and erratic. And when I went to look for things, I just couldn't find anything that was actually safe for this really important area. I'm also a product developer by trade, so I just knew I had to do better. Some of the products, we only have a few products. The first product we launched with was an oil, this oil. The rejuvenating botanical oil. And this was sort of my answer to soothing this really delicate area, but also, you know, I think women feel like their skin sometimes is just the focus is here. And really our skin's an important immune organ. And if you're shaving, waxing, sugaring, lasering, you're taking that protective hair layer off, for better or for worse. Some women choose not to groom at all. Some women, you know, go in and out of it. But this is really adding that protective layer back with essential fatty acids and the moisture that skin needs to remain resilient. So this isn't just when you have an issue. I love it every day. I use it every night. I'm also using it on my face every night for rejuvenating. Yeah. I mean, I hate saying the word anti-aging, but it is. We don't say that word in our brand because that's not our brand, but for my face, I'm happy to say it.
Yeah, I think we have this really terrible idea of anti-aging in general. You know, you obviously know, and anyone who's watching knows that I'm working in the breast cancer space, and aging is such a privilege. And I think we do ourselves this great disservice by trying to look like we're 20 when we're 40, or like we're 40 when we're 60, and not just embrace how awesome it is that we continue to age and grow and change.
No, you're so right. It's such a good point. I still find myself, like, I'm 44, and I still, like, I see a new freaking something every day. It's a sag here, a line there. But, you know, to your point, it's such a privilege to be alive and to be well right now, especially in this environment that we're in. And anyone surviving who has survived breast cancer, or I have friends that are, you know, champions and have survived that, and sometimes multiple cancers. And you know, a little wrinkle is not going to upset anyone, but we really should embrace that. So, you know, luckily with Lady Sweet, our message is way more empowering, and it's really about embracing these parts of ourselves that we just never were attuned to. And I think that's the problem. We just weren't attuned to these parts until later in life or when something bad happens.
Yeah,
So,
I was just gonna say that I didn't really know. I also have a thyroid condition. I also have really sensitive skin and eczema, and I have been using your products, I guess, for probably like 3 months, and I've stopped using my eczema cream because I used to get patches of eczema like on my labia, on my bikini line, and really was like, I'm gonna try this stuff, and I use the shower, like the wash and the stuff the serum. Is it a serum that you
yeah,
just
it's the
Yeah.
oil, and then the wash is the probiotic wash. And you know, that's not the first time we hear these things. I have moms saying, this is the only thing that helped my baby's dermatitis, or, you know, probiotics. I come from like 10, 15 years now of like trying to learn with like some of the top scientists who are pioneering probiotics in this way. And the more you know, the more you don't know. It's like everything going on with COVID. Like the more we know, the more we don't know. The
Right.
immune system is such a complex but amazing system that we are so lucky to have. But probiotics stimulate that system in a positive way. So I'm not surprised that you're seeing less of these sort of sensitivities. And honestly, probiotics are something you should take internally. I think they're everywhere now. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis made them famous with Activia, but if you're not taking probiotics, it's time.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I also really, I think one of the reasons I'm so excited to have you on, of course, is because you're making these amazing products that I believe in, and I believe in your brand so much. And I've just been so delighted to meet you. But I wanted to just touch on like why we know each other, because
Yeah.
it's a part of building a company that I think women don't often talk about, and is probably the most difficult part, or one of the most difficult parts. And I think, in an effort to be transparent, and I try to share things with the Brilliantly community about my actual life, about being a mom, about things that I'm struggling with, about body image and sex and health and all of these things that, there's so much stigma attached to. And I think your brand is one of those brands that is tackling that in multiple ways. But I think we're part of this thing that's tackling another one we don't talk about. So do you want to tell everybody why we know each other?
First of all, Brilliantly, I was so happy to meet you. I think, I definitely believe that the people in your life are, the people you're supposed to be with in your life for any given time. But the group that we're in is called weTransact, and we're a founder collective raising together. That's just the short of it. And, raising money is probably one of the hardest things to do. I've done it before, but it was just one person. It just sort of lined up. The wrong person, by the way. But, having this group of women, really forging this new path in a kind of a broken system that only really has contributed to companies ran by men or run by men. So minority women, it's like less than 1% or something crazy, and then women alone. And so you'd think that in this day and age it would be different, but it's not. So it's just nice to be around like 7 women every week who, are not only pushing toward the same goal, but are also on their own. We're also raising for individual companies, and that brings a lot of ups and downs. I will say, Kristen, since you joined the group, there's like such a new energy. And like, I really, I think about you sometimes, don't worry, not like that. But I think about you and I'm like, God, what I love about you is your tenacity. You don't have like a fear. You just push forward. And I think that's kind of the energy that we all need right now. And so I've learned a lot from you in just a short time.
I appreciate that. I think being part of our group has been such a blessing for me. It is so difficult, as you know, to be like a solo founder trying to do something and make something. And there's so many different parts of it. And I think having, creating a purposeful and intentional community of people who are, one, like-minded, but two, at a similar stage. And I think that goes for like building a business, dealing with a health issue, if you're a parent. There's so many times where you need these communities that really understand the experience that you're in right then. And we have these weekly calls, and they're on Monday, and it just like energizes me for the week, because I got off the call yesterday and thought, like, it's just so nice to know that there's other people working to help me while I'm working to help them. And that maybe we don't touch base more than just that Monday call, but that I know that there's this team of women who's behind me all the time is
Yeah.
so amazingly rewarding, even though it's just like, a little thought that's in there every day.
No, it's so true. And, it's kind of cliche. It's like, it takes a village, but it takes a village to raise money sometimes and to tackle these stigmas and taboos. And I think we're both kind of doing that in our own brands. So we're like fighting this daily sort of fight of old paradigms and, sort of the patriarchal thing. And it's not anti-men, it's just pro something different that,
Yeah.
values women in a way that, is necessary and it's about time. So I think airing some of our, like yesterday, I sometimes feel like I suck, like in general. And then
But I
one of the girls in our group texted me later. She's like, "Are you okay? I'm worried about you, And truth be told, I had my first UTI, which turned into a bad kidney infection this month. I literally just interviewed another femtech company on our IG Live, and I said out loud, I've never had a UTI, and then I get the biggest one. Thanks, universe, like lesson learned. But it was just so like, she's like, I know you've just had a kidney infection. I relate, and like, just sweet. And I wasn't expecting that, sometimes when you're on these like group things, like once you put the phone down or you get off the Zoom, it's just wait till next week. But that's not this group. So I really appreciate that. I think those daily check-ins are important.
Yeah, I think so too. And one of the things that I think is like distinctly, or at least I found to be distinctly feminine that happens over and over in our group is this like egoless sharing. None of us feel like there's a scarcity. Like you sent me your deck to look at and you weren't afraid I was going to copy it. And the deck, for those of you who aren't part of the startup world, it's like a PowerPoint presentation that you make to show potential investors to say, this is what my company's about, this is what we're making, and help them understand you and understand the opportunity. And it's a really hard document to make, and it changes all the time, and different investors want to see different things. And I think a lot of us, we work really hard on those investor facing assets, and it sometimes feels scary to share them with somebody else, like you're going to be judged. And that can be said for anything that we're making. And within our group and within other female founder communities, I just feel like there's this, like, I want to help you, like your success is my success. And we're in this moment of a tide change that's so exciting. And I'm really happy to be working with you towards tackling these taboos about like women and our bodies and feminine health, but also trying to help future female founders with raising capital.
Agreed. And, I've been in the beauty industry a long time and working on different things and brands. And so it's primarily women. And unfortunately, it's some annoyingly men sitting at a table telling women what they want when you're in the room. So there's that. That's a whole different IG Live. But there's certainly been times where I've been burned by another woman. And I don't let that get me down. I think these groups of women actually do exist for anyone who's insecure about sharing. First of all, you have to get over that anyway, because there's no such thing as an NDA anymore when it comes to presenting investors with your ideas, because they've seen it all and chances are there's something else similar. So really you're making the difference in how you're doing it and your creativity. But I also, think that there's more good than that, like a couple bad apples here and there. So I would love the day where women actually do empower other women fully, like no judgment. And I do think that's our group. I really appreciate that about our group.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. In my own company, and I'm certainly sure yours, is like we really have that same culture. Because I came from many fear-based cultures where women were pitted against each other purposely. I saw it. Like it was like in the sales, on the sales side of things, it's East against West and two managers. Like that's just not the collective way to do things. We're on the same team in the same company. We're fighting for the same sort of, chance and opportunity. So I do know a lot of women who are still scared to share. And like I said, yeah, you might have been burned or you could be burned in the future, but think of all the things you're missing out on when you do, meet a group of women who share the same goals and have that same sort of like, I don't know, it's just interesting because I guess I've never really been a part of a group like that before. So it's fun and it makes it easier for sure.
Oh yeah, it's so amazing. And I think, you know, I'm really hoping that through this platform, we can create that space where it happens over and over and over again. We have some comments for not buying from a small business, like share, comment, encourage. What happened to that being enough? Yeah, I think, you know, it's Giving Tuesday, right? And this is, not only is this like a really monumentally awful year for so many people, but it's a really difficult time of year no matter what year it is.
Yeah.
Holidays are challenging for people for various reasons. It's Giving Tuesday, which also happens after Black Friday. It's just a time when we're supposed to be supporting each other, but also spending our money. And maybe we don't have money right now. And I just want to say, Katie, I think one of the most important things you can do to support small brands that you love is do the like, comment, and share. It makes a big difference. I can tell you that when I get a comment from somebody that's real and genuine and isn't just emojis, I respond to all of those. We get a lot more DMs than comments here at Brilliantly, which I think maybe has something to do with talking about some taboo things that people don't always want to publicly share.
Right.
But I think it's meaningful. It's meaningful for the people who are running the social media accounts. It's meaningful for me to hear from people, and just seeing that shout out, whether you're sharing it or not, is, you know, like bolstered my enthusiasm. And I'm sure the same is true for you, Therese.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, look, I have a huge family. I think anyone's buying, no, they want it all for free. But just the fact that, you know, one of my best friends just shared our business on her social media, just things like that. It's just, it reminds us, because I always say, dear God, give me something good every day, because sometimes the lows are really low. And I usually get something good, and it could be as small as, you know, posting about it. And that's just my one thing that I'll take and keep going, because I know I'm affecting change in a positive way. So yeah, look, I'd be broke too if I had to buy every friend's like,
oh, totally,
something they were doing. So
I was going to say, the amazing thing about Instagram is getting to meet all of the, you know, like the different communities, right? So like for me, the breast cancer community, I also met a lot of moms, and then additionally, like other founders who are making great products. And of course, like if you're a small company making small product runs and you're being intentional about wanting to use like recycled materials or less packaging, all of that cost adds up. And we know that sometimes our products are more expensive because we're trying to be really careful and thoughtful and mindful. And you know, we're all in the same boat, that if we supported every founder that we knew who made something amazing, we would have no money.
No,
so
it's true. And I feel the same way about charity and giving back. Like we do whatever we can do every month to support specific charities like Loveland Foundation and what have you, because our hearts are there. And I've wanted to do a give back program for Lady Sweet, you know, since the get-go. But the expense and like sometimes I just can't prioritize that. And sometimes you have to prioritize your own business, like, you know, and I don't think it's a selfish thing. I think if your intention is in the right place and your purpose is, you're really driven by it, you know, take care of yourself first, they say, right? And then hopefully you'll get it to a point where then you can help others. I mean, that's the beauty of a small business sort of taking off and you know, creating jobs and those kinds of things. So even the smallest thing that you can do for yourself in a way that's not judgmental, that's not like telling yourself you suck, because I do it way too much, you know, and like surrounding yourself with awesome people that want you to succeed, even if it's just one person, even if it's just Kristen right here. She's helped me so much, and it's not like we've known each other that long. So I think it's those kinds of things. It's the littlest things that make the biggest difference. And it's okay to be selfish, because it's part of self-care. You know, I think you can redefine the word selfish in a way that makes sense for you. Because
it's not a dirty word,
no,
right?
It's not. I'm sick of it being a dirty word. There's like shame in it, and it's just stupid.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And I agree with you about wanting to do give back programs and have proceeds support causes and organizations that I really believe in and love. And I think, you know, it all comes with time. And that's why we're working together. And that's why we're part of weTransact, is because as a founder, you can't do everything. And we need a team, and we need advisors, and we need investors, and we need other people to help set those programs up. We need capital to get them going. And I think it's slow. That, you know, nobody tells you when you start how incredibly slow it's going to be, and that some of the things that are most important to you, whether that's a give back program or something similar that has like a social impact initiative, that's often the slowest part of it. So, you know, I think that what's awesome about being involved in the group is that we're all working towards that together. And it might take us 2, 3, 5 years to get there. But I love that we're a bunch of women who founded companies that all have a similar sensibility about them, and that we're going to get there together. So the communities that we're sharing on social media or just through our brands are going to watch us grow together. And I think that's really exciting.
Exactly. And so speaking of which, we're going to have you on Lady Sweet too, because I think, you know, when we're talking lady parts, we're talking vulvas, vaginas, but I want to talk about breasts too. I think there needs to be a lot more crossover, and being more attuned to like what you're feeling. Like, are there any warning signs? Like, when should I get a mammogram? You know, isn't my doctor the right doctor? You know, those kinds of things, because even I, at 44, haven't had a mammogram yet. I know I probably need one, but I've heard conflicting things. I know I've heard conflicting things. So I self-check. Like, one of your posts made me self-check one morning.
Good.
And so I'm getting into the habit of doing that every day. But I think there's this fear in me because, you know, it's a pretty common, unfortunately common thing that you can sort of detect it early. So there's a whole thing I want to talk about with you.
Yeah, I would love to talk about breast health. And I think you and I, you know, separately offline have talked a lot about having to advocate for yourself, because, you know, when you complain about pain, especially gynecological pain, women often get ignored. And so, and I think that translates into breast health and pretty much any part of a healthcare journey for women is really, you have to learn how to advocate for yourself because nobody else is going to do it. So I would love to do that. Until then, for people, and, you know, we'll link to your social, your Instagram on here, but where can people find you or find more information, or what's the best way to get in touch with you for somebody who wants to find out more about Lady Sweet?
Yeah, so honestly, our Instagram is the best way to DM us. We have one of the women that I'm so privileged to work with, Olivia Martinez. She's like kind of an amazing human, but she is very active along with me on Instagram. But ladysweetbeauty.com, we couldn't get ladysweet.com out the gate, but we're working on it. But ladysweetbeauty.com is a really great resource, and we're turning it more into an educational, like we have a lot of plans in 2021 to like really be a lot more educational, have smarter, real conversations like this, and not be embarrassed. I just wish, you know, it's funny, I met this dermatologist in a jacuzzi like a year ago and went after like après ski, and we got to talking, and, you know, she asked me what I did, and of course we got into this discussion of vulvas, and she's like, you know, it's so funny when a man comes in with like an ingrown or a pimple or a zit, or maybe it's a freaking herpes, like who knows, they'll come right in, whip out their dick and say, hey, what is this? Where a woman, she's like, most of my women patients, whether they're new or existing, kind of don't say anything, and then I'll say, is there anything else, or is any, and then they'll walk out the door, shut the door, and then open the door and be like, actually, yeah, there's something happening down there. And so, you know, on their skin, because, you know, unfortunately, a lot of gynecologists, for better or for worse, don't have a lot of skin knowledge, you know, so they end up going to dermatologists for like tests and things like that. But it was just funny, like a man doesn't have any shame because it's an external thing. It's all out there. You know, they were taught to hold it, look at it, you know.
They know the names of it.
Know the names of it.
Yeah.
But God forbid you know, you take a look at your own vulva. Like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know. And so you wait until you have an issue, and then sometimes that's too late. So it's those kinds of things. We just want to get over the shame of even saying vulva. It's not everyone's, like I've learned in our investor pitches, that's not the right thing to say sometimes. Right. Which sucks. You know?
That is so true. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's so much to unpack. Unfortunately and fortunately when it comes to women's health. But I think what you and I align on mostly is that we're trying to progress women's health, and that's that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to, be working with you and to keep the conversation going. Love to be on your IG Live as well.
Yes.
And looking forward to seeing you at our Monday meeting next week.
Thanks, and thanks for doing your hair.
Yeah, anytime.
Just
only
on Tuesdays, and only for me. By the way, if anyone doesn't know, Kristen has the best hair all the time. So
well,
next brand, your next brand can be a hair brand.
Maybe. Although I would be ashamed to admit how little I take care of it. But
that's probably why it's so healthy, and probably less is more as usual. So
maybe, yeah.
Anyway, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for making
the time.
It's good to
see you 2 days in a row. Okay,
awesome
talk to you
day.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.